All right, YouTube. Welcome to another video of mine. Today we're gonna be talking about censorship in gaming, and today's victim are actually gonna be Wuthering Waves, which is like a game that I have been playing for the past couple months. And unfortunately, there's certain events that was happening before, which in relation to that is basically this. Let me see if I can zoom the picture a bit bigger. So yeah, if you guys can see in the two pictures right here, one of the the only differences that the character has is honestly like in the panties. If you see, there's a crotch line in the previous version, and there is no crotch line in the after version. But the problem is that this changes happens like around 2 weeks or so after the game was released, which makes people like really wonder, because what the hell happened? Like, why did this suddenly get changed, right? And during those same times, apparently, there's also another couple of games that was like reported by a different like community, and like cause it to be like removed from from being sold, like removed from sale. So like at first, like people are thinking about we're wondering if like this is like a political like move, and like if this whole changes is a part of like censorship due like to let's just say like a feminist movement. But apparently not. Apparently recently we've got an update on this post right here, that this expose reveals that there are 20,000 of Hoyo First fans, dubbed Hoyo Shields, have allegedly used multiple accounts to engage in coordinated malicious acts against combating games like Arknights, Tower Fantasy, Snowbreak, and Wuthering Waves, including harassment, spreading misinformation, and review bombing. These actions were uncovered by the overseas users who infiltrated the communities and following the outrages of the censorship. So following this not that one. So following this problem, this whole like Cantarella, that's the name of the character, by the way. Following all this debacle, some people are starting investigating on like what's the reasoning behind it, and like with all the theories that are going around, right? And it came to us that apparently there's this group like 20,000. Yes, apparently it's around 20,000 members, where they definitely use spam emails, false reporting, public opinion control, reflecting a strategic effort into undermine rivals' reputation. And that thing, the action that they do, the spam email, includes spamming the Peggy here, includes spamming into like the Peggy game association, like the here, what is it called again? European Game Information. I don't know what's that first word, like PAN or something. So like if you see in the specific emails, right, guys? I cannot zoom into the freaking picture. Twitter, god damn it. So if you see this picture right here, this person was like asking, Wuthering Waves recently was changed to 16 plus. This for the reason, like with the reason being nudity, despite like other games doing like the same thing. And like they're wondering like what the hell is happening, right? And the reply was that like ratings for Wuthering Wave was recently changed because it allowed players to view outlines of the character's genitals by angling the camera in a certain way. And this happens, a reminder is that like this happens 2 weeks after the update happened, after the character was released, right? Which means like this is not something that like they noticed, but rather something that like people reported on. So this is kind of like illustrate like the kind of like things that those specific group of people, the Hoyo Shields, are doing, how much they can do with those accounts. Hold on, I just remembered. Yes, feel free to share what you remembered. And if you can see right here, they even have like guides. Like if you guys see right here, they even have guides on how to report them. So, yeah. And there's a thread here that was kind of explaining about the group more, which is apparently the group is called like Xianjuyuan Xianjiyuan in China. It's basically like the most extreme group of MiHoYo fans. And they played, and if they, like they would only play Hoyo games, and if they play other games, they would try to constantly like nitpick the game while trying to compare it to MiHoYo games. And they would try to defend it with all reasonings, like they would try to defend it, like, and they would like, die for MiHoYo. Wait, what the fuck? They believe in safeguarding MiHoYo, even using such prayers as die for MiHoYo. Wow. Dying for a game, guys. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that? I was like, that's a good thing. And as their current target, Wuthering Wave claim Wuwa plagiarized the game. They spam report the game as having pornography, which, kind of explains like why Peggy ended up like getting a second, like a double take on a game. And then post cropped out of context image to steer their moral outage as they mass report games. So they actually do a false report. They would like try to frame the photos that they take like in a negative way, and then they would also attempt to manipulate the public opinion to cause the game to be censored. And do you know, like, if you guys didn't know how they did this, apparently there's also another guide. Let me see if I can find them. But there was there was an explanation of a guide where like you can they were teaching people on how to basically like act and like report the game as if like you're a concerned parents. Which, if you think about it, they're just like, at this point they're just stretching out like the amount of like bullshit that they're trying to go through just to like censor like the competition is really crazy, right? They would have a guide. I couldn't find I couldn't find a post for that either. Maybe what they saw with the Tencent bots attacking. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there's this post here. Okay, so this is the post here. If you guys see on the here, I mean, it's even worse. I'm gonna read it for you. It's even worse. There are Hoyo shows making guide on how to report like their concerned parents. So how come Genshin did not go into trouble? Well, because technically it's not a problem unless people reported about it, right? These are all problems that inherently most people wouldn't be able to find unless they actually look for it, right? Except these people tried to look for it and then reported it. And if you read here, they constantly nitpick other games while finding ways to prove MiHoYo games are superior. Xianjiajun has a higher proportion of Honkai Impact 3rd players compared to Genshin Impact players. So they started off from the Honkai Impact era because they have a longer history of purifying its player base, resulting in stronger effects. So basically, like, the games are filled with like hardcore players. They're like most likely part of this group. That makes sense. That might be actually that might be the reason why Honkai Impact 3rd still exists around, like still around, right? Like imagine the outcry that they would be having if like one day MiHoYo ended up like closing like the Honkai Impact 3rd game. Like, imagine what this group would be able to do and would be willing to do to the company. Like, given how crazy they are right now. Currently, like, they're defending the company, right? But one day the company might like ended up closing the game, and I wonder what like the action they're gonna, like, this group specifically is gonna do. And like this claim that they're not, but rather fun seeker or like rational MiHoYo critics. However, their action reveals they're simply, what the hell is MXZ? They always target things that are unfavorable to MiHoYo. They always find excuses that aren't about like defending MiHoYo. And they also like to pose as like players from other games, since they constantly portray these games as like rivals. They would believe they if they can they like posting as like players of other games, so they can kind of like drag down like the common communities apparently. Because like by doing that, they would be like, oh, like for example, like Wuwa fans are just as toxic as like Hoyo fans. Apparently, this is also like that might be a thing, because like it's these like the members of these groups doing it. There was a TikTok where you can see the balls of the shape of their balls while the whole thing in TikTok. Like Wolf. Being famous on TikTok does not mean you will get banned on like the Peggy. As long like those people on Peggy, like they don't really watch TikTok. So like as long like the whole censorship can only happen if someone directly reports it. Like here's another well, I guess like this is a good like segue to like bring up the another example that I was like thinking about. If you guys don't know, there's another game that was like much more matured and like cultured that was recently getting banned from Steam. And the game was called No Mercy. So the game was like being reported as like being offensive for like female players because of like the genre of the game, you know, which like they touted as like a rape simulation game. And if you think about it, right, like these kind of games, they wouldn't like even though there's like a dozen of them like on Steam or like on other like stores, right? Like most of them, like 99%, I'd say 99%, or even like 100% of them would not be censored or like would not be pulled out if there are no one reporting it. Because believe it or not, I think this game ended up being most people are talking about like about the game like being like less about like rape simulation and more about like I think like molesting or something. And like it's basically like the whole team is like very like if you guys see the comment like right down here, right? The game seems to be in line with about like 50% of the new books women read. So like in terms of like and then this older person also brings up a good point, right? A line in the text about the book is this different as like a whole game as depicting rape. Like sure, but like the theme is not even that like deep. Like if you think about it. And like the whole issue with this is that like when people like when these specific groups and like for this game specifically, it was like a group of like a feminist gamers, I think it was like Women on Gaming or something, like a group on Steam that was like reporting it. When like a group like this basically like causes quote unquote problem, like a lot of people are starting gonna like be investigating on it. And like for example what happened to this game is that like nobody, like if you see this post, nobody had ever heard of this game before, and now it's gonna receive like 1,000 or like hundreds of thousands of extra downloads because now people notice this game. So like what's happening here is basically like a Streisand effect, where like the more you try to like, let me see, the Streisand effect, here we go. Unintended consequences of attempting to hide, remove, or censor informations. So where the effort instead increases public awareness of the information. So this is what's happening to like this game, and this is exactly what's also happening to like the current like Wuthering Wave problem. Low-key crazy if it's based about books a woman read. I mean, if you think about it, right, this is basic like this game, if I were to describe it, because like believe it or not, I ended up giving this game a shot to see like what is all the fuss about. This game is basically like if you ever see if you ever read like a raunchy like a teenage romance book, like think about it like this. If you think about like 50 Shades of Grey, right? But instead of like being in the woman's perspective, you're in the man's perspective of the story, right? That's basically it. Like you know, like if like most people, most books that women read, right, is usually being told in like a woman's perspective. So they thought like, oh, it's kinky because in their mind they're kind of like, you know, they're kind of imagining it as like, you know, they're kind of fantasizing about it. But like if but because this game happens in the guy's perspective, suddenly it's bad. But that's like beside the point, right? That's beside the point. The point that I'm trying to make is that like this is the same exact of like problem that is happening. That is like a certain group of people are reporting the game, and that's what causing the censorship to really happen, right? Like when no one has really brought up that point. Yeah, I don't know why no one has brought up that point. I personally think that's like, at least in my interpretation, that's how it looks. But like coming back to like the Wuthering Wave controversy is that like there's a certain group that reported this game with malicious intent, and that's why the game ended up getting like basically quote unquote checked and investigated. And that's why the whole Peggy thing happened. And like if you guys see this in the reply, right? However, we were told that this content has since been removed by publisher, so we have reverted the game's rating back to the original Peggy 12. We're told. So guys, remember, Peggy would not go out of their way to like check the game unless there is a report of it. And they're not gonna move, and then they're not gonna revert the ratings unless someone told them about it. So as you guys can see, this whole thing only happens because a certain group reports the game. Which brings us to like this whole like talk about like this whole thing of the Xian Jianjun doxing stuff. So like before 2012, doxing was limited. After 2012, they became heavily SEO-oriented, doxing numerous critics. So doxing has become their standard tactics. So basically they dox like the people that are like criticizing their game. I remember there's like a certain controversy in like Honkai Star Rail where like it turns out like Firefly was designed based on like the story director's like girlfriend or something. So people are started to like harassing the girlfriend because of that. Okay, for one is more political move, and the other more is more like I am defending my waifu situation. But both have like a different intention. But I think the action is still the same, right? Is that like I don't like what's happening in this game, so I'm gonna report it. Like it doesn't matter like what kind of group you are, whether you're like a feminist group or like you're like a Mihoyo diehard, right? The point is that like the action is the same. Like I don't like this, so I want this game to go down, or I want this game to be censored. And I think that's the issue that I'm trying to point out in this whole like talk. Because like if you see right here, they're doxing people, then their audacity is extreme. They're flaunting databases and doxing tools on Bilibili, posting ID numbers. And if you guys don't know, in Bilibili, you have to actually sign up with like your real ID, like your actual like identification. So like if you get doxed in there, that's basically your whole life. Like if you get hacked in Bilibili, and like everything that is like Chinese, like in the Chinese apps, like everything requires like real ID. So like if you ever get like hacked and doxed, it's over because like everything is connected. So if you guys see here, the illegal harassment has evolved, including but not limited to the Bilibili harassment. Bilibili is like their main social media there. And then since like it's related to the phones, obviously they're gonna get like phone and SMS spam. They're gonna get courier harassment. They're gonna get threatening messages, which also happens if you guys see the threatening messages. It's actually happening to all the current YouTube creators, and that's why like a lot of them wasn't able to like address it fully. if you guys see this, right? The YouTuber who posted the video about the censorship issue has already given us a statement about why the video is taken down. Me and my friend manages this account decided to take it down for a while because we've been getting messages related to it. I wonder what kind of messages they're receiving. And some big creators are discussing the same topic from the same source, but me personally think it's better to take it down now to prevent the if case there's not something very accurate about it. So like now this like for me this sounds less like now to prevent the if. I think this sounds less like if and more like they're getting harassed for it, and they as a smaller content creator they could not handle it, right? Like that's why they kind of like point us out to like someone like Kazahana or like Saint Tonta's videos. It's because like they're a bigger content creator in general, so like I think like it's way harder to bully that kind of like creator compared to like them. And like if you guys see in the bottom here, to prove my point, now we know the reason why how all of these bots are attacking the small Wuwa content creators. For example, there's this Hoyo is better, Wuwa is trash. And then there's like they literally opened the account and like the account was literally just made 3 hours ago. And then there's also the Gunnar Wuthering Waves, like the name, it's joined like 14 hours ago. And then like if you see the comment here, right? You may wait and see what happened in the following 2 months if you decide to ban me because I am a Chinese parent. I will start a major report in my community. I will begin the report immediately. If I hit this 300 reports button, your favorite character might eventually be censored. Look at like the way they're like bullying other people out. And like there's even a clip here. Let me actually change the audio real quick so you guys can actually hear it. I'm gonna put it here. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Wait, did another one come through? Another one came through before I made it through the login. Wow. Okay, this one actually took him like 3 minutes. That one took him 3 minutes to make. He went through all his normal accounts. Yeah, now he's gotta boot up the now he's gotta boot up new ones, make entirely new ones. So navigating to the announcement page. Wait.
So you guys, if you guys see this, this is literally another streamer, which is Six and Mr. Six. As you guys can see in the link here, is literally getting botted during their live stream.
Wait, did another one come through?
Yeah, if you guys can see, I know the quality of the video is really not that good, but I can kind of see in the text there it mentioned Gunnar Wuthering Wave. So this, so this is basically yeah, this is Gunnar Wuthering Wave. Hoyo is the best. You're terrible because you keep playing Gunnar games. Or something like that. I cannot really like see it that clearly, but I'm basically like kind of like doing some guesswork here with how low quality like the texts are. And there's also a post here. Let me see here. Ryuku Sensei is also another streamer that is like a Wuwa streamer mainly. They were releasing a video about the Solon interview, and literally they got an account that's saying Wuthering Wave will be banned in 2 months and I will notify the CCP about this. And then there's another account with the same exact messages. So you guys can kind of see the whole talk about like this like Xianjianjun like group. This is not like an empty talk. This is literally happening out there. There's a certain group out there that is like targeting things that they don't like and then proceed to like literally bombard them with spams and bullying out like stuff that they really don't like. And this is exactly why censorship can be like really detrimental in some ways, because like when like in an ideal world censorship only happens to like, you know, things that require to be censored. But nowadays, like there's a lot of like these groups, right, that are trying to like take advantage of like the system to bend the situation to their, like, you know, their ideals. And I feel like the problem also, like, not lies in just like how, like, crazy these peoples are. It's also because in the broken system itself. Because again, like, there's a mention like in the Peggy messages about how, like, there are other games that was like doing all these like nudity stuff and was fine, and then Wuthering Wave on the other hand got rated higher because of like the reports. And like, we're wondering if, like, if the game is being handled in the same way, right? If all of the games that are like listed here are also being dealt in the same way, at least they're being fair, right? But this problem only happens because, like, of people reporting it, and they're only doing it in this one specific thing because of the reports. I feel like in order to combat like these kind of like censorship, right? They should have like some sort of like a better, like, they should draw a better line. In that, like, if for example, like, imagine this as an example, right? If we use the Wuthering Wave as an example, and if Wuthering Wave is being turned into 16+, they should also go back to Zenless Zone Zero and then like Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact, and then turn them into 16+ too, and just be like, okay, so you guys said that like this game is like providing like some like bad imagery, and like we did some investigation, and it turns out like these other games that are like related to this game are also doing the same thing, so we're gonna do the same thing too to that game. We're gonna increase like this, like we're gonna increase the rating on those games, and then like call out to them, and then like imagine how that group is gonna feel. That group is gonna go ballistic. And like I think we can also do like the same thing with here, right? Where like okay, so like a game about quote unquote rape, which is in like is being like pulled out. So like, okay, so if a game about like a guy groping like a woman is like being pulled out, then like a game that is like about for example, like a game about a woman gripping a woman, like a, you know, a lesbian game, should be like pulled out too. And a game that it doesn't have like consensual, like, you know, interaction should be pulled out too. And then like imagine how like this group would feel if the victims happens to be like a woman. Like for example, like I said, like if it's like a lesbian game, then they're gonna be like, oh my god, this is like misogyny, like how can like you do this to, like, you know, like you can kind of see their reaction like happening to like if we were to like put in the same like standards on them. And this is why I think, like, personally, like either you draw the line on like one of the, like on all of them, or like none of them. You cannot just draw the line on like one of them. And that's why, like, I feel like the law are not really catching up right now. And these groups, these malicious groups, are like taking advantage of like this whole like debacle. And also they're taking advantage of like how like the censorship thing is also like really big in China. So like they're really much more like prone to it, like especially like if people are specifically reporting them to it. But we can also really see that the censorship in general, I think, is really performative, because they're only doing it in like one specific thing that they reported. Because if we were talking about like something like fan service, and like if you think about it, like the whole reason like this is being banned, remember, there's only a line. Like my problem with this thing is not the fact that like the line is gone, because this is like such a small thing, and it's like you can say that it's like super insignificant. But the problem is that like it's happening after people have spent money on the game for the characters. And the fact that it happens at all, if it's so small and insignificant, according to like what everyone had said about this, because like also I've seen also some reaction from like the community about like, actually this change does not affect the gameplay, so I don't know why you're complaining about it. Are you like tuning to the game or something like that? And I would like to say to them, it's like, no, it's just like, if this is so small, why do you even change it in the first place? Right? If you think about it, the reason the reason this got changed is because someone think that this is in fact significant. Right? The whole reason this is getting censored is because someone somewhere thought that this is like a significant thing that needs to be changed because it is too sexual in a way. So like you cannot argue that like, oh, we're just caring about an insignificant thing when you're literally making it significant by drawing attention to it. Again, the stray sand effect. Like most people does not know that this exists. Remember guys, most people out there does not look around their character 24/7, like to look into like their curves and like their lines and all that stuff. The people that are the people that actually would care about it. And you cannot say that it's not a big deal if you're literally changing the game because of it. If you're changing the model in the game because of it. You cannot say that it's insignificant if it warrants a change. Right? It's like saying like, oh, fever, like, you know, like, oh, you have a virus on your computer, that's fine. That's like insignificant. Like if it's insignificant, then we wouldn't have like antivirus. We wouldn't like, you know. Like if it doesn't have an impact, then why do you need it to be changed? For real, I never know this until I saw the post about it. Yeah, exactly. Most people does not notice, and people that notice are people that would care about it. So if you change it and then people complain about it, it's because the people that notice about it does in fact care about it. And you cannot say that it is insignificant because you're doing a change. Because you're changing the game because of it. So how can that be insignificant? That's like nerfing a character and be like, oh, you know, we're nerfing this character because this change is like this nerf is like insignificant. It's fine. No, you're nerfing the character because the character was too OP previously. There's a reason to it. So yeah, honestly, my whole take in like the whole censorship thingy is that like they need to draw the line. They need to draw a more proper line, and they need to stop. They need to actually apply it properly and not just in one game. You know, if it's changing in Wuwa, if Wuwa is getting changed because of it, then maybe the current association like the CCP or like the PEGI, they should also check into like all the Hoyo games and like all the Arknight games and be like, hey, all of these games are doing the same exact thing as like the previous report that we have on this one other game. So we're gonna enforce the same action. Or if they ignore this part, then we should ignore every one of them. Like remember the Neverlet nerf? How everyone got mad? I told you, yeah. And to be fair to them, the Neverlet thing is in fact gameplay affecting. So I can see them being mad because, you know, in the Gacha game, paying more money usually means more power. So reducing that power after you spend money on the game is definitely a significant change, even if it's for balance purposes. But I think I can say the same about like the crotch. Like you know, I don't know how many people out there are buying the are spending money on Cantarella because of like the crotch panties. But I do in fact believe that this crotch panties are part of like her appeal. Because if you guys see it here in the actual like trailer, I'm gonna show you guys a real proof that this is not a modded model. If you guys see here, there is in fact a crotch line in the actual official trailer. If you guys see, this is an official trailer by the way. That there is in fact a crotch line here. So this is not a modded model. This is literally the model that they have in the first place. Oh, that is so loud. Oh, I'm so sorry. Ooh, let me. So yeah. The fact that you had to look for it. I have to look for it because you said earlier that some people are saying that it is modded, right? So I'm here trying to prove that this is how it looks before and no one had problem with it. If anything, like some people might have like, you know, some people might have like went from like not wanting to pull for her to straight up be like, oh my god, she's so hot, I'm pulling for her right now. So obviously like to those people, to those people, the people that ended up like changing their decision because of that, this change, this is basically like a betrayal for them, right? Because now, like, wait, what a minute, why are you like changing the stuff that I already spent money on? And why are you only changing it in this one specific games? And it turns out it's because a certain group does not like this game. As you can see here, defamation, forced apologies, organ donation fraud. What the fuck? So the post is still not over yet. They have there's an opinion. See, if you guys see here, Xian Jiajun has like a dedicated video creators with significant following, such as Yoshiki Model, which have like 7,000 followers. They're defending Genshin Impact. Video averages 10,000 views, some hitting 100,000 and peak of 400,000. Shenzhou Alliance mobile game Observatory. So they have 9,000 followers. Similar content with views ranging from 10,000 to hundreds of thousands. Tianhua SRSH, 60,000 followers. Video countering player outrage by labeling critics as unhinged, claiming to represent the ordinary players while actually defending MiHoYo. Viewer starts at 10,000 with some exceeding 1 million. These countless smaller like key opinion leaders, like, so basically like all these content creators kind of like leads, like in a way they're leading like the opinion that like this whole like group are making. They also post videos portraying Genshin as Honkai as like a victim of doxing. So they basically post so all of this action that they're doing to other people, right? They're also trying to portray it as if like they're it's like a more it's less of like a witch hunting and more of like a retaliation, because they're also portraying like the Genshin and Honkai player as like victims, or like, oh, it happened to us too, and like that's why we had to like retaliate. It's because like they did this to us first. And then the leader and their scripts attracts them, offering a sense of belonging and tool to fight evil MiHoYo haters. So like they're doing this, and then like when the normal people, like the normal Hoyo fans, are like feeling kind of sad and like feeling like, oh, why are people are bullying us, right? Because like there's a lot of like in the recent years there's a lot of like Genshin could never kind of like statement. So like when all of that people are like, oh, why are people are talking shit about Genshin? Like these people would come to them and be like, hey, what if we can like hit them back where they hurts, So even an unaware player gets drawn into these as like KOL, as like these like content creator getting traction, entering the Shenzhen like echo chamber. And then like once you, if you remember, since this is like a kind of like a YouTube in a way, like Bilibili, right? I think it's a YouTube in a way. Once you watch one video from them, you're gonna keep you're gonna keep getting like recommended like their videos, like amplified by the Bilibili algorithm. And the narrative that they make, like all of the videos that you have in the Bilibili is gonna be about all of this, and like you're just gonna get flooded by their videos, like specifically mostly. And then like when Shenzhen like publicly disrupt with group attacks, they secretly engage in extensive docking. So like everyone is like mocking this group as like an all talk no bites, and like keep in mind with how crazy the way they acted so far, like I think it is possible for them to actually like do something like this. One of the features in the Shenzhen ID fully automatic name, certain character name for more. Find the content diagram. Oh, I think this is the part. Wait, you will find the content of the diagram in the HSR 1.5. There are so many coincidences in this story. In this world, especially MiHoYo games in Genshin in HSR, I'm writing this post to let you know MiHoYo did know the existence of Shenzhen what they did. However, instead of stopping it, they chose to use this information as their context in game, so that players can repeat the behavior of Shenzhen in a metaphorical way. What? Okay, I have not read this far. Wait, MiHoYo knows about it and they did nothing? Instead, they put like a like an Easter egg for it. What the? Okay, this not. This just gotten really deep. I don't know what to say about this. Argument in Chinese forum. Someone pointed out that it's a dog whistle that they were blowing to the Shinjejun. Some countered that the text already said it was immoral. But most people think that it's already an act of support the moment it became... So the moment they implement this, like Easter egg in the game, they show like Shinjejun suddenly can like, you know, with how like delusional they are, right? The moment they see this, they're gonna be like, oh my god, MiHoYo is on our side. You know, we were doing the right thing. And like, oh my god, this is just gotten really bad. So yeah, I don't know what to say. All I can say is that censorship is really bad. Like really, really bad. And like this just makes it even worse now. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I think we mostly just want to talk about like this whole controversy thing and about like how like why the censorship happened, who did it, and like what kind of effect like it has, and like what I think about it. And yeah, I think that you should like if they're gonna do it, like if CCP is gonna censor Wuthering Wave, here's my take on it. They should also censor the MiHoYo games. Because I want to see what the reaction is for like this group. Is it like oh, if like seeing the crotch of like a certain characters are so bad, then they should definitely like censor like all the like MiHoYo games, like the Zenless Zone Zero or like the Honkai Star Rail stuff. And just be like, yeah, guys, like, you know, we saw what you guys don't like earlier, like before when you reported this like other game. So we're gonna do it to every game that you guys have in your entire library. From now on, there shall be no more crotch shots ever. And I want to see what their reaction would be when the censorship gets applied to their own games, like to the games that they're defending. So yeah, I think that's all for the YouTube stuff. That's all for the video today. I like if you guys liked my reaction, if you guys like my take on it, feel free to leave a like and also your comment down there. If you don't like it, then feel free to also comment down there to let me know like which stuff that you don't like, which things that you think I can improve more. So yeah. I also remember these game players that got mad ZCC was getting more censored, so you had to take it away and fix it. Yeah. Shit kind of sucks when it's happening on your quarter field, huh? With that, I think that's the end of today's YouTube stream. Feel free to subscribe to me to see more of videos like this. More of my takes, my yaps, and me talking and reacting to other kind of stuff too. But for now, I'm a ciao. Bye-bye.